Hello dear student, and today's topic we're going to talk about rational number in grade 8 first chapter first section. In this topic, in this one, we need to know four things. The first one is simplify fraction. Second one is writing the decimal as a fraction, then changing fraction to decimal, then the last one, which is called absolute value. So the first one is simplify, and simplify, it's easy. We already studied this one in the previous years. So now if you take a look to the first example, let's say we have 16 over 24, which is example number 3, and the question say simplify. So in this case, what I'm going to do, in this case, I'm going to find the greatest common between 16 and 24. What do we mean by greatest common? We mean the greatest common number, greatest common factor in this case. So now what are the factor of 16? So they are 1 time is 60, like 2 time is 8, and 4 time is 4. Do you have any more? No, that's all. So what about 24? By 24 is 1 time is 24, 2 time is 12, 3 time is 8, then 4 time is 6. So if you take a look, the greatest common between them is 8. So that means I'm going to divide both of them by 8. So I'm going to divide this one by 8 and this one also by 8. So the answer will be 16 divided by 8 is 2, 24 divided by 8 is 3. And the simplest answer here is 2 over 3. I cannot divide anymore because there is no common number between 2 and 3. Then if you take a look, we have another type of question, which is example number 2. In example number 2, we have negative 6 over 10. If you take a look to this one, the only difference between this one and this one is the negative. So if you have something like this, be 100%, the answer will be also negative. So the first thing, just go and write the negative to not forget it. Then the greatest common between 6 and 10, it's already 2. So I'm going to divide this one by 2, this one by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3 and 10 divided by 2 is 5, and the answer is already negative. So that's all the thing that you're going to do in simplify. So the way of solving simplifying is dividing by the greatest common factor, but sometimes you can divide it by a smaller number. Like same example, let's solve for the same example, 16 over 24. So 16 over 24, can I divide it by another number? Let's say not only 8. Some people say, Moms, I'm going to divide it by 4. So some people divide it by 4. When you divide it by 4, it will not be the simplest form, but it's not wrong in the same time. So you're going to do division. So you're going to say 16 divided by 4 is already 4. 24 divided by 4, it's actually equal to 6. So 4 over 6 is the simplest form? No, because when you have even number in top and bottom, in this case, you're going to divide it immediately without thinking by 2. So because every even number is divisible by 2. So 4 divided by 2, 2. 6 divided by 2, 3. So if you take a look, do we got the same answer or not? Yes. So that means in this case, when you're not going to divide it by 8, instead of it, you're going to divide it by 4. In this case, you only need to divide it by one more time, which is become the same answer. So that's one of them. Then that's for what? For simplify. Let's go to the second example. If you take a look to the second example, let's say write each decimal as a fraction in simplest form. So you need to simplify. So he asked for two things. First one, change decimal to fraction, then write the fraction in simplest form, which is easy peasy, the first one. So let's solve question number 6. In question number 6, it says 0.75. So what I'm going to do if I have something like this, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to write the fraction. How many digits do I have after decimal point? I already have 2 digits, so I'm going to write 2 0, so it will be 100, because we already know the denominator of every number is what? Is 1. So because you have 2 digits, I'm going to write 20. That's the first thing. Second one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write 75 on the top. The number which is after the decimal, I'm going to write all of it on the top. But is that the simplest form? No, because the question asks for simplest form. So in this case, I need to simplify. So I'm going to divide it by 25 divided by 25. So in this case, the answer will be 3/4. Some people say, Mom, like, can I divide it by 5? Yes, you're going to divide it by 5, again by 5, again by 5, until it will be the simplest form, like we did for this one. Instead of 8, we did by 4. It's exactly the same case. So now we have another question in changing fraction to, decimal to fraction, which is like question number 8. We have a number in front of the decimal and we have a negative. What are we going to do in this case? So in question number 8, what I'm going to do, first of all, the question is negative 0.26. So what I'm going to do in this case, like we said, the first thing is write the fraction. How many digits do I have after decimal? 2. So that means I'm going to add 20. Then what is the number which is after the decimal? What do we have? It's 26. So the number that we have after decimal point is 26. So I'm going to write 26 here. Then what I'm going to do to the negative 3, I'm going to write negative 3 in front of the fraction because it's already in front of the what? Decimal point. So I'm going to rewrite it like itself in front of the fraction. But is that the simplest form? No. We already said when the both numbers are even, we can immediately divide it by 2. So I'm going to divide it by 2. So 26 divided by 2 is 13, and 100 divided by 2 is 15. Now this one is a simplest form of this one. Now let's go to the next question. If you take a look, this one was decimal change it to fraction, and it must be in what? Simplest form. Then we have another thing which is say fraction to decimal. Then in this case, what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to change fraction to decimal, which is easy peasy questions. Actually, this one is easier. Now if you take a look, we have question number 12. It's a negative 3/5. So what I'm going to do in this case, always remember one letter. So I'm always teaching my student by 2 ways. S letter, or let's write the question again, or Z letter. So if you pull the side of this Z, it's already become what? Long division. What about the S? Again, it will be the same thing. If you pull the side, it will be like this one. So 3 will be inside, 5 will be outside. So 3 will be inside, 5 will be outside. In both of them, it's the same case. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to say in 3, do I have 5? No. So in this case, I'm going to add 0 and a point, and we add 0 in denominator. So it will be 13 divided by 5. In 13, how many 5 do I have? 6. Then I'm going to multiply this one by 5. 6 times 5, 13. After we subtracted, it will be 0, 0. So that means the answer, when we change this fraction to decimal, it will be what? It will be negative, because we have negative in front of the fraction. 0.6. That's how you're going to solve this kind of question. Then we have another one. Question number 5/8. Let's solve question 11, which is say 5/8. Again, I'm going to use S letter. After I use the S letter, that means the 5 will be inside and the 8 will be outside. So again, do I have 8 in 5? No. So I need to add 0 and point and 0 here. In 15, how many 8s do I have? We already have 6. 6 times 8, 48. So 15 minus 48, it's already equal to 2. In 2, do I have 8? No. So in this case, because we already add 0 and point on the top, no need to add another 0 and point. So immediately add 0. In 20, how many 8s do I have? 2. So 2 times, we said we're going to multiply this number. 2 times 8 is equal to 16. Then after we subtract 20 minus 60, it's already equal to 4. Then what I'm going to do, again I'm going to add 0 because in 4 we don't have 8. So in 40, how many 8s do I have? Because we already know 8 times 5 equal to 40. So 5 times 8, 40. So subtracted, it will be 0, 0. So that means the answer of this one, 5 over 8, is equal to 0.625. That's how we're going to solve this kind of question when the question say change fraction to decimal. Then we have another thing which is called evaluate each expression. Now in evaluate each expression, before we're going to solve any question, we need to know what's absolute value. Absolute value is a number which is showing the distance between the number and the 0. So if you take a look to this 4, how many units it's far from 0? 4 units. That's why the answer is always 4. We are not going to say we are far from something by negative. We cannot say, because the measure cannot be negative. The measure must be in positive. Then absolute value, it's showing the measure. When you have something inside the absolute value, when you take out and you remove the absolute value, the answer it's always become positive. So if you take a look, negative 4 or positive 4 in absolute value, when you take it out, it's always become positive. So if you take a look to this question, we have negative 9 and 7 positive inside the absolute value. When we remove the absolute value of 9, what's the absolute value of 9? We already said anything inside the absolute value, when you take it out, it will be positive because it's 9 units far from 0. So that's why it become positive. This one's already positive, nothing will change, it will stay like itself. When you take it out, then you're going to plus them. You're going to say 9 plus 7. Why we plus it? Because we have plus between them. 9 plus 7 equal to 16. So let's solve a question here. The first question that we have, let's solve question number 17. Question number 70, it's a evaluate. In this one, what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to write the square root of 2 plus square root of negative 9. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to take out the square root of 2. So we said if we remove the decimal if we remove the absolute value, the 2 will be positive. Then if you remove this absolute value, this one will be again positive. Between them, what do I have? What do we have? We have plus. So I'm going to rewrite the plus like itself. So it will be 2 plus 9 equal to 11. So the answer will be 11. Then we have another type of question, question 18. We have only one absolute value. So this time we don't have 2 like this one to take it out and change it to positive. This one is only one absolute value. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simplify and then subtract, then remove the absolute value. So what I'm going to do, simplify, then remove the absolute value. 22 minus 7, it's equal to 15. Now if I remove the absolute value of the 15, how many unit 15 is far from 0? 15 unit. So that means the answer will be 50. So can this one be negative? No, because when we take out something from absolute value, it's always become positive. Now the last thing that we have in the book is comparing between two things. Now if you take a look to this question, we have absolute value of 4. We already said When you take out something in absolute value, it becomes positive. Now, 4 is bigger or 3. Of course, in this case, we're going to say 4, but the 4 is negative. We already know the negative numbers is always smaller than the positives. But don't forget, we have absolute value. So when we remove absolute value, this one will be positive. This one will be positive also. Now, 4 is bigger or 3? Of course, 4. So that means we're going to say this side is bigger. Then we have another type of question like this one, question 40. You need to solve it, then you're going to decide what is it. Then in the other side we have bracket. Inside the bracket we have 5 minus, then 13, then close the bracket. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to decide which one is bigger or smaller, or they are equal. First of all, we already said if you have one of those, you need to simplify first, then remove the absolute value. 3 minus 5, it will be negative 2, because 5 is bigger and the sign of 5 is already negative, so that means the negative will stay. So after we remove the absolute value, this negative become positive, so this side is equal to positive 2. What about this one? In this one, I'm going to say take out the 5, it will be 5 only, positive will be positive, then 13 will be 13, between them what we have? Minus. So I'm going to subtract it. 5 minus 13, it's already equal to 8. But in positive or negative? Of course in negative. Why? Because 13 is bigger and the sign of 13 is negative, so the answer will be negative 8. Now negative 8 is bigger or 2? Of course 2. We already know the positive numbers, it's always bigger. And that's all the thing that you need to know in chapter 1, section 1. Good luck and have fun.